Are you a business owner who's looking to access hundreds of millions of dollars for various project financing requirements that you have, and you're just sick and tired of working with traditional banks? Are you tired of working with a lot of joker brokers who need upfront fees and they never deliver anything, or they certainly can't access the hundreds of millions of dollars that you need fast? In this video, I'm going to share with you how we at Atlantic Credit have figured out a solution for ourselves and some of our clients. You've got to watch this video. I'm Taimour Zaman from LatticCredit.ai. Our organization is a private equity firm. We provide capital, monetize various banking instruments, and assist clients in something called private placement programs. And one of the challenges I've had in my career about 20 years ago when I started a real estate investing career is that I found myself to constantly be hustling for accessing capital. When I got into real estate investing, nobody said on the flyer that this job requires to have mastery at constantly raising money. I did all the traditional things, put in my money out of my own pocket, go to friends and family, go to high net worth individuals like that. But I found myself to constantly hustling for accessing capital. The truth is that real estate investing is not the only business that you constantly need to be a hustler for raising capital. If you run a technology company, you need money to build the technology, roll out the technology, support the technology. If you run a pharmaceutical company, you need capital to build a drug that you're trying to build, especially testing it becomes really expensive like that. So there's a lot of business owners that run and operate businesses that constantly require a lot of capital, and banks that are faceless. I find that a lot of these banking executives, graduate from some Ivy fancy MBA school. They started their career on the 44th floor of the ivory tower, and when they got promoted to become executive of bank, they went from 44th floor up to the 77th floor. And I just feel like my experience, they don't know what it really takes to be an entrepreneur in today's world. This just becomes really hard for a bank to constantly be a strategic part of our business and to provide us with capital that we need to do all the things that we need to do. And that's just always been a frustration for us. So one of the things that I did was I set up a dinner meeting with a mentor of mine who's a billionaire. And I asked him at dinner, I said, how have billionaires, or how have you figured out this constant hustle for money? And he gave me an aha and insight that completely changed my life. And he said, Taimour, billionaires think significantly differently compared to millionaires, high net worth individuals, or entrepreneurs. And one of the things we in the Billionaire Club have figured out is how do we turn our businesses to being a bank first before it is the business that it needs to be. So before you want to be a real estate developer, investor, if you want to be in the car business, buying, selling cars, you want to be in a coffee business, how do you figure out how to become a bank first? What does that mean? Like, how do I become a bank first? Like why is that? Like, tell me more about it. I don't understand. And he said, well, imagine you sell coffee and I sell coffee. Okay, great. Imagine we buy coffee from the same grower. We process it the same way. Our offices or our coffee stores are side by side. Why would somebody choose you versus somebody choose me? I don't know. But imagine you're a bank and I'm not a bank. And imagine in year one of our operation, we both made $100,000. But you're a bank. Imagine you're a bank and I'm not. Well, with $100,000, I need to pay staff. I have some operational expenses. I definitely need to eat. I certainly have family, and the cost of living is going up. But if you're a bank first, you have $100,000. Imagine if you have a banking license in Cayman Islands, a Schedule B bank. You're depositing your $100,000 in the Central Bank of Cayman Islands, and the Cayman Islands Bank gives your bank a credit facility, a credit line of 10 times multiples. So you get $100,000 turns into $1 million line of credit that you get in your bank. Now, if you're in the United States, as an example, or Canada, or any of these developed countries, when you go to your local bank and you say, hey, I want to buy that house and I'm going to put 20% down, and the bank gives you a loan of the other 80%. Well, you do the same thing. You take your $1 million loan from your Cayman Islands bank, you deposit into your local bank, and you say, hey, I'm looking for a business loan. And now the bank gives you a line of credit loan for $4 million based on your $1 million deposit. So end of the day, if you're a bank first, as a coffee shop or a coffee seller, and you now have $4 million. It's a loan, but you have $4 million, and all I have is $100,000, which, by the way, I need to pay, whatever I need to pay out of that $100,000. With $4 million, imagine you can outperform me in advertising and technology investment and hiring better people. And I can tell you from somebody who's now deeply into this whole area of becoming bank first, a lot of your management day-to-day frustrations, concerns, anxieties, issues, oh my God, COVID hit our business, how's that impacting your cash flow? All those issues really truly disappears if you're bank first. So after that dinner meeting, I had to figure out how do I become a bank first. And I spent a lot of years trying to look at how do we buy a bank, acquire a bank. Do we go to Puerto Rico to buy cheap banks? Do we talk to an attorney who sets up a banking license? And in a lot of that research and work, what I discovered, the answer was not in any of those things. Rather, it's counterintuitive. The answer for us was to look at the top 20 banks on the planet and discover how they are becoming a bank first, how they're generating money. And what I discovered was an area called private placement programs that have been in existence for the past 77 years in a lot of these top 70 banks, or the top 20 banks. And what these banks are doing, or the investment banker does in a private placement program, in a very close note version of it, is imagine when you want to buy a car, you go to a car dealership. Well, the car dealership is buying a car at a cheaper price than they're selling it to you. When you go to a grocery store, when you go to Amazon, the grocery store, as an example, is buying the product cheaper than what they're selling it to you. Amazon's buying whatever they're getting at a cheaper price than they're selling it to you, like that. And so when it comes to banking instruments and investment bankers, what they're doing is they're buying banking instruments. They're selling it to pension funds, hedge funds, and so on at a markup. However, because they're a bank, this is a key part, their bank is allowing the investment banker a credit facility of 10 times multiples. 10 times multiples. So what that means is that when that investment banker calls their commercial institutional clients and says, hey, Mr. John, you have part of $500 million with us or $1 billion for us. Would you like to put $100 million in this particular program? Then they get, let's say, 10 clients to put $100 million each. That's now $1 billion, and that $1 billion turns into a $1 trillion credit facility for the investment banker. What can he do with a $1 trillion credit facility in buying and selling instruments at a profit? It is unbelievable. And then what they do is they go back to their commercial clients. The guys have put up $100 million, and they allow them, they do a very nice profit share constantly. Now, private placement programs, by law, you can only run them twice. Otherwise, everybody would become as rich as Amazon. And clients that participate in private placement programs oftentimes must have a noble cause project that requires funding. So low-income housing in Africa, as an example, providing fresh water in India, like I can go on and on. So you're required to have some kind of a community development-based project. It's really not designed to make individual people rich. It's rather designed to create funding for community-based developments like that. So that's when I decided to get into it myself. I raised money from friends and family, treated just like a real estate project. Raised money from friends and family, and I got scammed not once, I got scammed twice. And that's when I discovered a lot of private placement programs out there on the internet, through brokers, even through references, were professional scams that were happening. And I learned a lot out of it. Today, for instance, if you look at my management team, you'll see former FBI and CIA agents on retainer, on contract with us, helping with a lot of these private placement programs. But through a lot of these experiences, I now know when I get into a platform on behalf of a client, I can ask the platform, can you show me your level 8 banking license? So I've certainly learned a lot into how to help clients get into these programs, but also I myself have now got to a point in my experience in doing this, create a hybrid program with two of our financial partners to say, how do we do the buy and sell of banking instruments? How do we help the small business owner who doesn't have $100 million ready to go to participate in a hybrid? And they may not make trillions of dollars, but they could make a lot of cash out of a deposit. So we created a program called Hybrid, and so we asked clients to put up a minimum of $550,000 as a minimum, and within 120 banking days, that client would get $5 million, and it would be strictly in form of a profit share. It's not a loan per se like that, and we started to roll it out. I myself am a client of the program. I have multiple clients by working with registered dealer brokers. I've got multiple clients in that program, and it's really awesome. So with that in mind, I have a few questions that a lot of people ask me, some common questions that I thought I'd answer here. One common question I get is, Taimour, I don't understand how $500,000 turns into $5 million. And for that, I just want to say, don't worry about it. I have a video below this link that you can watch, and you can see for yourself in detail where I show you how $500,000 in a buy and sell program becomes $5 million. The next common question, I guess, Taimour, if these programs are true and they've been running for over 7 years, well, why isn't everybody else doing it? Why aren't all the rich families doing it? Why isn't everybody else doing it? And that's a great question. The truth is that we all fall into tribes, communities. My best friend, Andrew Morgan, is a pastor of a church. You may think about churches as small businesses. They certainly need a lot of cash. But my pastor, and listen, I go to his church, so I'm 100% in alignment with him. My pastor believes whatever you're seeking for in life is available through Jesus Christ. And I have to tell you, I actually believe I agree with that comment and say. So there's a whole bunch of communities. They're not that they're not vision-driven entrepreneurs, but they're just not in businesses that, would do things like this. My local plumber for my real estate stuff, that guy is a plumber. He's looking for a 9-to-5 job. He's not trying to start a company designed to disrupt Facebook, or he's not trying to build a real estate empire. My mother, she's in her 80s. She cares about her health. She cares about being with family, with her grandchildren specifically. She's not going to do this. So I find that there are different tribes, and different tribes require different things. However, vision-driven entrepreneurs that are sick and tired of working with traditional banks that are faceless, and they just, and they need access to a lot of capital, these types of hybrid programs or private placement programs become a value proposition for that entrepreneur. Another question, common questions, I guess, Taimour, do you have case studies, references? And the answer is absolutely yes. I myself, I'm a client of the program, but providing references is not an issue for us. Another one I get is, Taimour, how do I get involved? Well, so here, the purpose of this video is strictly for education and entertainment purposes. It's not designed for solicitation purposes. So I don't have a please sign up here, deposit $550,000 and you're gonna get, become a trillionaire. We don't operate that way. We operate by working with registered dealer brokers, and if you're interested in learning about this program, my staff and I are happy to introduce you to registered, licensed dealer brokers who offer our hybrid program through their sales channels. Next one that I get is, Taimour, what if I don't feel comfortable sending a registered dealer broker or you $550,000? Is there a different way of doing this? And the answer is absolutely yes. For institutional clients who have $5 million or more, they can use our custodian account, which is Barclays on it. They deposit their deposit in a custodian account. The registered dealer broker and or us will go to a custodian account and borrow that money as a form of a registered loan from the custodian bank, and we then invest that money into the hybrid program. And then obviously when the profits comes out in the back end, it's a little bit lower compared to if the client wanted to just work directly with a registered dealer broker. The custodian way, the client's depositing money with the custodian account, and the bank, in this case the European bank that we're working with, returns 100% of the deposit back to the client a year after they've made a deposit into a custodian account. So it becomes really a risk-free value proposition for the client. Last two questions I get is, Taimour, what are your fees? So out of the 550,000, 50,000 is our fees to begin with. Primarily that's used for wiring fees, legal fees, like all that stuff. And we take 10% on the back end of the capital when that comes in. That's our fees that we share with a registered dealer broker, generally speaking. The last question I guess, Taimour, what happens if I don't take the I want to be a bank first approach? And the answer to that is nothing. Your life will be just fine. If you want to be a coffee guy just like me and not like you, a bank first, you'll have traditional. I find that people who are not a bank first have traditional management problems they have to deal with. How do I hire talent with a limited budget? How do I grow my business? Oh my God, COVID hit. Now how does that impact my cash flow and my income? They have a lot of, oh my God, like lots of considerations. Inflation goes up, price of commodities goes up, milk goes up, eggs goes up. And so they get to be a victim of all of that. Versus if you were concerned to be a bank first, I don't want to use the license to print money, but you certainly have a utility, a vehicle that allows you to access a lot of capital to invest in the things that you care to invest in. My name is Taimour Zaman, AtlanticCredit.ai. I look forward to the opportunity of working with you. Thank you so much. Hey friends, so in this part of the video, I want to talk about the frequently asked questions we get from you, the viewer. Number one biggest question, I guess, Taimour, we watch a lot of your videos. We like to engage your organization in helping us access capital that traditional banks wouldn't be able to provide to us, or help us monetize a banking instrument, or help us understand how to go into a private placement program. How do we engage you and your team? And the answer is in three specific ways. One, and it's the best way, is to go to our website, lineofcredit.ai, and book a consulting call with us. Me or any of our senior associates would be happy to meet with you, understand the project, understand the challenges you're dealing with, and help you through it like that. We get a lot of compliments for our ability to execute when others can't, for years of experience and expertise for sure. The second is you can get a copy of our book, Hypergrowth, How to Connect to Customers and Investors in New Ways. You get access to various investment strategies, how to talk to a banker, how to connect to a customer, how to get your next investor like that. The third is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll access customer walkthroughs, case studies, strategies, banking instruments, closing of banking procedures, like a lot of stuff that sometimes your own banker wouldn't even know some of these strategies and content, or nor would your chief financial or legal officer like that. So I highly recommend subscribe to our YouTube channel. The second question, I guess, Taimour, when companies are choosing you or LineofCredit.ai, why are you guys winning compared to alternative options? In the past, my answer would have been because we provide higher LTV, or when we provide capital, we can provide far more than your bank can, and we cover geographies internationally that perhaps your bank doesn't. In the past 2 years, what I've really started to discover is the reason a lot of chief legal officers, CEOs, capital companies are choosing us consistently is simply because of years of experience, our expertise, and our ability to execute. Next question that I usually get is, Taimour, which customer base do you best serve? If I was your ideal customer, who am I? The truth is, everybody in our team speaks English somewhat fluently. And so I like to think that we are best relevant to business owners that are English speaking, people around the world. You must have some kind of liquidity ready to go, a minimum of $1 million for sure. You need access to a large amount of capital, whether it's cash, whether you want to monetize a banking instrument or participate in a private placement program. That's the market we typically serve. We operate just like a law firm. So when you contact us, it becomes a billable hour, and what you're paying for is our years of experience, our expertise, and to really be able to execute on projects that your banker or your chief legal counsel or whoever you work with typically can't help you with. This is a funny question, and I get this often. I hear that there's a lot of litigations against some of our competitors, whether it's a private placement program or a bank that promised to loan money they didn't, whatever the deal is, and how come we don't have any litigations against us? There's two answers to that. The first answer, the corporate answer, is that me and our team operate a very high level of integrity. We take on projects that we can deliver on, like all that corporate stuff. Now there's a truthful answer, and the truthful answer is me as a CEO of LineofCredit.ai. My vision hasn't been big enough for me to try to disrupt the world, and I failed at that vision, because if you look at the largest corporations or the largest brand names in your household, whether you use Google, whether you drive a Ford car, whether you have tunnel when you have headache like that, a lot of the brand names in your household that you use have litigations as part of their business. Look them up, look at their financial statements. They all have lawsuits against them. And so I feel the fact that we don't have any litigations, or we don't have people on social media bad mouthing us or creating drama stories like that, is my failure in trying to push the company at a new heights like that. And that's the truthful answer on why we don't have litigations against us for sure as of the day we're shooting this video. The final question I do want to answer is, Taimour, we've seen a lot of brokers who have made millions and millions of dollars working with your firm in less than a year. Do you have any kind of a program, because I'm interested in becoming an associate or broker within your organization? The answer is yes. If you go to LineofCredit.ai, we're always looking for brokers who have experience. Our target brokerage is a broker who has a book of business, who comes from the financial services industry, whether it's retail banking, wealth management, management, is a former legal attorney, like that. Those are the target audiences we like to work with, just because what we offer is so niche, so sophisticated, and so wanted. And it's ideally an institution or a brokerage that has a bunch of agents and they're looking to provide some advisory services, some banking expertise that they simply don't have right now. My name is Taimour Zaman. My team and I look forward to the opportunity of working with you. Thank you very much for your time.
It was very interesting talking with you, Taimour. We usually have assets and investments made with banks. We always deal with banks, and you opened a completely new avenue for us.
What I got from you guys today is phenomenal. You answered so many things that were in the unseen to me, as far as custodial banks and non-recourse loans. It's just amazing what you threw out there at me, and that was just a small piece of the pie, I know.
A lot of insights, a lot of inputs you had given as a free hands to us, and we are really looking forward to collaborate and work together with you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.